Hello! So, today is 2.12 graded assignment, so you need to know how to do it. So, the document is there on your plan, so go ahead and click on it, have it open as you watch, so that way you can add what we add to it and then be able to continue on from there. So first thing we always do is look at the question first because QT Pie says question first. So we're looking at it and it says, a theme developed in Out of Place is that through understanding, one can build trust and create a bond. What details from the story help develop this theme, and how does the character of Michelle help develop this theme? So it's talking about a theme, something we've been discussing a lot in class, being developed. And what is that theme? Through understanding, one can build trust and create a bond. And what kind of things are we going to be looking for? Is it the details from the story itself, and especially Michelle and how she helps to develop this theme? Alright, so while we read, we will highlight pieces that we see that help to show building trust, creating a bond, and especially where Michelle does this. Some of these words are foreign, so I do not know them, so do not laugh at me or not being able to pronounce them correctly. Out of place. Ben benu yep ba. I will not do that. He can't have my shoes. He stole my guitar. Erkin's eyes looked impudent beneath his dark brow as his cheeks reddened in fury. His gray whiskered lips trembled as his hand gripped tightly around the nurse's wrist. The nurse carefully but firmly freed himself from Erkin's grasp. He then turned to the caregiver who was assisting him, smiled, and said calmly, "Go get Michelle." Michelle was scanning boxes of gauze bandages and stacking them onto a shelf in the storeroom when the caregiver came in and announced, "Philip's trying to get Erkin to take a shower, and he needs your help." Michelle rushed out of the storeroom and down the hall to Erkin's room. Now this kind of looks like there's a bond there, right? She's running to him. This was the last week of Michelle's internship. It was her junior year, and the internship was part of her workplace and consumer education class. At first, she wanted to intern at her dad's gas station, but her teacher told her she needed to branch out and signed Michelle up to the Oak Court Nursing Home, only 15 minutes away from her house. Wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers sweatshirt and jeans with dark curls pushed back in a hair clip, Michelle stood out from the crowd of nurses and caregivers in white pants and polo shirts who were standing huddled in the doorway of Erkin's room. She moved past them and rushed to Erkin's side. As soon as he saw her, Erkin's face brightened, and he stopped looking like a stricken animal and instead looked like someone who recognized a dear old friend. Again, there's this bond here. And definitely a trust, because he goes from being very upset to very happy to see her. "He can't have them, Michelle. I sold them at the corner," Erkin shouted, pushing his way to Michelle. "He stole my guitar," he whispered. "I know, Erkin, but he was only trying to help you get some money to pay for your trip." Michelle had been frightened by a lot of the residents at the nursing home when she first started at the beginning of the semester. Many of them were incoherent and loud, and some could be very aggressive and scary. Erkin often pushed or kicked and ranted. Michelle had started to regret this internship, and she even avoided going near Erkin's room whenever possible. "He lives in his own world," Philip, the managing nurse, explained to Michelle after her first encounter with Erkin's temper. Still, Michelle had been curious, and she felt sorry that Erkin had had a bad reputation among the staff. She, too, felt like everyone mistrusted her, especially at the nursing home, where she was so much younger than the rest of the staff. So she understood how he must feel. So that's how the bond was created, right? Or started. Besides, he was the only person in the whole place with skin nearly as dark as hers. which of course helped her to bond with him quicker too. Over time, she noticed patterns in Erkin's rants. He would sometimes mention his guitar and his father and the city of Diyarbakir, which she learned is in Turkey. So she decided that the next time she brought supplies to his room, instead of avoiding Erkin, she would play along with whatever he said. If he lived in his own world, then she would try to join him there. Bit by bit, she discovered that he had immigrated to the United States from Turkey when he was very young. Bit by bit, that's showing a bond being created, right? His father had saved as much money as possible to pay for his journey, but he needed to sell Erkin's guitar to help cover the cost. Erkin had moved in with his aunt's family in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and finished school there. Eventually, he got married, had children of his own, and worked for years signing Turkish singers to a small record label, but he never quite felt at home in the United States. "I know he sold your guitar, but you told me yourself he just wants what's best for you," Michelle said, while Philip and the caregiver looked on in amazement as Erkin settled into an armchair. So just her words helped him to settle, which shows that there's trust going on there. Now, why don't you listen to Philip? Take your shoes off and have a shower. For you, Michelle, I'll do it. So again, there's that trust. You can feel out of place in a country, in the place where you live, or even in your own head, Michelle thought. But if you're lucky, someone will know how to find you and remind you that we all feel that way sometimes. Alright, so what you're going to do with this is first you need to restate the question. I suggest using the outline because then all you have to do is copy and paste and make sure it sounds, it's full sentences. So first thing we'll do is write in here, we'll say, looking at the question itself and the keywords, there's a theme developed about through understanding one can build trust and create a bond. A theme of building trust to create a bond is in, out of place. Period. It's got most of those keywords that we were talking about. Should be good to go. Next piece, you've got to look for evidence. So that's all those highlighted pieces that we have above. So you can literally go up and copy and paste the pieces that you think best show this trust and bond. So like we could copy and paste this first one. And then we got to make sure that we put the quotation marks around it because it's directly from the text. And I'm going to remove this period. The reason why is that right after it, you've got to tell where it came from. So you're going to do parentheses, quotation marks, out of place. Quotation marks in parentheses. And then how does it relate? This relates to the theme because it shows that Michelle has a bond with Erkin, thus why she ran quickly to his room when she was needed. Easy breezy, right? And you do the same thing for the rest of it. So you choose another quote, copy and paste. You'll put out of place for any of the in-text citations. And then you start every single one of the how does it relate? This relates because blah blah blah. Same thing for the third one, if you choose to do it. It's not required, but it's always nice to have to back it up. And then you're also responsible for restating the thesis statement at the end. Okay, so that means that you're going to take what we said here and you're going to say it in different words that mean the same thing, or do it in a different order. It's okay if it's not perfect, just give it your best shot. Alright, and that just means that you're going to take what you've written up here and you're going to copy and paste it down here. So it just in the exact same order that you had it before. Copy. And what I do is I say just the text. That makes it easier so it doesn't mess up with your formatting kind of things. So just the text. Come on. Just the text. And then whenever you do your in-text citation, you want to make sure to put a period at the end, because remember we removed it from the quote. So now we put it at the end to make it a full sentence, because this sentence came from this story. So we make sure that we have the sentence and then the story, one right after the other, so no one is confused as to where you got that quote from. And then do the same thing here. And continue on until you have the end. It'll literally go one right after the other. So quote, citation, reason, repeat. And then at the very end you have the restate of the thesis statement. You just copy and paste it right in. Alright, hopefully this helps you out. Let me know if you have any questions, if you would like to set up a one-on-one or come to Open Help next week. I would be more than happy to help you out with that. And good luck. I look forward to receiving your fantastic work, because you're going to do fabulous.